Melissa. Happy Tuesday. Gosh, I almost said Monday. Got it all confused with the long weekend. So, happy Tuesday. Hope you are doing well. Are you surviving? I think most kids are now back to school, whatever form that takes this year. My kids have been back doing 100% virtual school right now for the 3 weeks. I think we're on week 4. Poor Blake. He was very upset about this. Really wants to go back. But today we are back to school at Silhouette School. So I have a tip for you today. And this one is a little bit of how to survive virtual school as a mama and a little bit of how to save your project. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to cut a design. You can see I have already partially cut it. This is the trick. Okay. And I'm going to show it to you on here and then we're going to finish cutting. So the reason that I have already cut part of the design is this I am using as essentially as my test cut, okay? So what you do, and I have this all set up in Silhouette Studio already, instead of using weeding lines, I use weeding boxes. So you're just going to use the draw box tool. And for this design, which is from the Big Mama SVG and Font Bundle on So Fancy, I use the draw box tool and just draw boxes around every part of my design where I can, okay? And then all I do is tell it that I turn off the cut lines on everything except one part. Now I strategically pick which part. So this design, I picked this part, one, because it has the smallest size lettering. You can see it's the thinnest, so it's going to be the most difficult to cut. Also, it is far down on my vinyl. So this way, it's easy for me to weed. If I test cut something up at the top, and then I try to weed it, it can get caught under the bar. But if you cut something down here, you can easily weed it while keeping it in the machine. So that's the other trick. You want to make sure that you keep everything in the machine, and then that way, after you weed it out, if you're satisfied with it, then you can go back and cut the rest of it, all right? If you unload and try to reload, it's never going to line up, okay? All right, so now what I need to do, I need to turn off the cut line around this part. So I'm just going to select that and choose no cut. Okay, you saw the line turned off. Everything else, I'm going to select cut. Okay, and so now I have cut lines around the rest of my design. And the only thing that I changed between that first cut, because it did cut pretty much okay, there was one little spot that kind of snagged. So I increased it to 2 passes. And 2 passes, you can think of 2 passes or what used to be called a double pass as basically a half blade up. So I'm cutting on a blade of 2. By putting 2 passes, you can think of it like 2.5, okay? So I'm gonna do that. I always cut my vinyl and HTV on a force of 14. The default is 4, and a lot of people email me, and I see comments about this all over in the groups and stuff saying that they cannot get their vinyl or HTV to cut cleanly. Part of the reason, and I did a whole blog post on this, is I am one to say that something is user error. This is not user error. The default cut settings do not work. So increase your force to 14, okay? All right, so now I'm just gonna send the rest of my design will cut up here. This part will obviously not recut because it's already done and I've turned the cut lines off, and I'm going to send that to cut. If the box pops up that says, do you want to mirror or do you want to send as is? My design is already mirrored, so I'm just sending as is, okay? All right, now, while that's going, I'm going to prep my shirt, okay? So I have my heat press over here. I'll turn you a little bit so you can see my press is still warming up. While it's warming, I'm going to fold this shirt down the middle, lining up the seams, okay? And then I'm just going to press a center seam, and this is going to tell me where the middle is, all right? I'm actually going to turn it this way. I'm using my small press because it's conveniently located right now, okay? Going to give me a seam, or not a seam, a fold line, crease line down the middle. And then that way I can fold my HTV in half and line up those two crease lines, okay? So we now have this. You can see there's a line down the center. Obviously it's temporary. Fold in so that the line is not bulking out as it would on the back, okay? All right, so now you're all ready with this. I'm going to use, when I do this, I'm going to use a pressing pillow so I get good pressure, and I'm going to cover my design with a Teflon sheet, all right? So I have everything all ready. I'll test to make sure that the pressure is good, and it is, okay? All right, when this is done cutting, I will then weed the rest of the design. Now, every part of this design that I am cutting here, I'll pull you in so you can see a little bit more, has weeding boxes around it. Okay, these are the weeding boxes. That's not part of the design. This design is not supposed to have this. But like I said, that helps with a test weed basically, and also it allows it so that I'm not trying when I'm weeding to pull the entire sheet of HTV from around my design. When you try to do that, that's when you can end up snagging parts of your design and pulling them up, lifting them. It's much easier to work in small areas, okay? All right, so I'm gonna set that aside over there. Someone is asking a couple of questions. You have a couple of heat presses. If you could just buy one, which one would you buy? If I could only buy one heat press, it would be a 15 by 15 for sure. Yes, of course I have multiple presses, but it really depends, and I have a whole blog post on this, on how to decide what press is best. If you have limited room, if you don't have room to store it, if you are using it to travel or need something that's portable, if you are doing thicker materials, that's going to depend, that's going to help you decide. Your budget is obviously going to help you decide. If you need a press that will allow you to press really large objects, for example, if you are doing sublimation on socks, like tube socks, which is popular, or extra large shirts and different things like that, you might want to consider a 16 by 20. If you're only going to get one, though, you have to decide you have to think about your budget, you have to think about the storage space that you have, and you have to think about what you're mainly going to use it for, okay? So that's a tough question to answer. The other thing is, there are swing away machines, there are 8-in-1 machines, there's a whole bunch of different, but I will tell you this, I have a press over there and this press here. I had 2 other ones that I was storing in a closet that I actually lent out during COVID. A couple of my friends decided they were going to kind of start small businesses or see it, whatever, needed an extra hobby, and they both were like, we're ready to give them back. I said, just keep them. If you're going to just buy it anyway, just keep them, but these are the ones that I kept for myself. And I actually am getting another one. I'm getting, it should be coming in soon. They're not quite ready, but I'll do a big unboxing when those are ready too. So a couple of other questions. Oh, people saying hi. All right, now it's cutting. I did one big box around, okay? I don't want to get a press right away. Any tips on using a normal iron? If you are going to use a normal iron, you just need to make sure that you are not using it as a normal iron. You need to apply heat and pressure, heat and steady pressure, okay? And to kind of mimic a heat press if you can, all right? Okay, so now we have this. So let's see. So I have more boxes around here. Let's see. First of all, I'm going to try to, no, I'm not going to do that yet. Okay, so I can see that I have a little bit of a problem over here. This did not cut through. I'm going to try to save that first, so I'm going to see how everything else cut though. Okay. See how I am leaving it on on my not on my heat press. I'm leaving it on my machine. And so that way, if I need to resend it through, it will cut in the exact same spot. Ugh. Jeez. Okay, so now I can see that it needs to probably cut again. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leave this all in here. I'm going to increase the force one more time, and I'm gonna increase the speed so it goes as fast as possible. And I'm gonna tell it to send one more time, okay? But again, this is the reason that you're doing this, because otherwise, I think it's gonna, hold on. I'm actually not, no, stop! You guys thought this just happened to you. It was not lined up correctly. Okay, we'll just see if we can save this. All right. I think I bumped it while I was weeding it. All right, but I think we'll be able to, let's just see. You just have to take it slow. So this is, again, another reason that you're using these boxes. Do you see how it's now helping me weed around the areas? And then this way, I am not trying to deal with all this little text. Instead, I am just pulling up in smaller areas, okay? All right. Okay. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm trying to do it so you can see. Okay. Let's move this out of the way. Okay. Now, okay. You see here? So now, I'm not fighting with this whole piece as I'm trying to weed here. I had a little bit of a, when I sent it back through, I had a little bit of an issue where it wasn't cutting in the exact right spot, but I can save it. So that's why I stopped it. Okay. All right. So now I need to deal with this down here. All right, so I'm gonna pull any areas out. I actually have 2 boxes here. Did this again to help myself out, because it's much, much easier to deal with HTV in small areas. The other thing that you can do if you want is to weed on the heat press, okay? What that's going to do is it heats up and it kind of loosens, the area a bit, or the HTV a bit, and allows it to release easier from your sheet. All right, so see how I had a little snag there? I'm just gonna, be careful. I just put my, I don't know if you can see that. I kind of just put my hook in and kind of pulled it down, and it was fine. Just go slow. Usually, you will almost never see me crinkle up the whole thing and just be like, forget it. I always do whatever I can to try to save it. Okay. Things like S's and C's where the vinyl kind of hooks around, help it out with your hook, okay? Pull, and also, that's the other thing I was gonna say, pull in the direction. Don't try to pull like against the grain. Like this has an L here, pull this way because it is hooking in here, all right? And that'll help pull that out of there easily. Same thing with like the E's, F's, whatever you have. All right, now I know I have a bit of an issue here with this one letter. So instead of just yanking it, I'm gonna use my hook to try to make sure that we get it. There we go. Okay, all right, so whole design here. Oops, I got one piece here left. Okay, all right, now I can have my whole design here ready to go. So now, instead of using this whole piece, I'm actually just going to cut right here, and I can save that bottom piece. Okay, so now I can reuse this for a whole nother project. And I'm going to peel, just weed off this excess here. Okay. Okay. Make sure you don't have any little pieces, which I actually do. Okay. All right. Clear that off. And I'm now going to take my design and I'm going to fold it in half. Now the reason I'm doing this is so I can have a middle crease. It doesn't have to be a big giant crease, just enough that you can then line it up on your shirt where you creased your shirt. Okay, so here's my shirt. It has this middle crease here. I am not going to measure anything. I am going to use those crease lines. I actually have a couple of little bits of vinyl on there. Make sure that if you do, you get those off. Okay, about 2 inches down from the neckline is typically where you want to be. Okay, so my crease lines are now lined up. Even though this bottom, you guys probably can't see it, but like visually to me, this bottom of the HTV carrier sheet is not even. And so it looks like my design is not even, but I know that it is because the two lines are down the center of both the shirt and the transfer, and they are lined up. So now I'm gonna move this over to my heat press. Okay, and we will press it. All right, I'm gonna get the whole thing. Let's move you over a little bit more. The whole thing on there. Okay. All right, 20 seconds, okay? And then we'll peel the carrier sheet off, okay? Now, while that's going, I have another trick up my sleeve. I have all this like little HTV all over my desk. So I have this little thing. I'm just going to clean it up. Not this big piece, but okay. That just picks up all the little bits. All right, I hear you. Okay, this is ready. Okay, here's my shirt. I will bring you back to my table. I need a camera person. Piece there that might need a little extra pressing. There's some pieces at the top of my design that were probably too close to the edge. So what I'm gonna do is cut this off a little bit. Okay, I'm just gonna trim the carrier sheet
And then I'm gonna repress the top. You'll see what I mean in a second. Okay, so I have it like this. Can you see that? I'm going to repress the part that says I tried, because that must have been too close to the edge of the heat press, and it didn't get a totally solid press, or because it's so close to the collar. Okay, so just if you do this, you 100% need to cover, because this part is now totally exposed. All right, I'm gonna just press that again and pull this, which is hanging off my foot, off there. Okay, just wondering if there are any differences other than size between the Cameo 4 and the Cameo 4 Plus. No, the only difference is the size and the price. Okay, you are always using time and temperature. Yes, yes. Okay, let's see if that worked any better. Can you see? I cannot see. All right, there we go. Perfect. Okay. All right, back over here for the big reveal. Okay, cute, right? So this is like a rose pink. What's it called? Rose pink, rose gold. And on this is a navy, not really navy, it's like a heathered blue shirt. It's next level, because I know someone's going to ask. And the design is from the Big Mama bundle, which is all kind of like mom things. I mean, seriously, do we not need a little humor in our life right now? A little extra humor, because otherwise, how are we going to survive this? Or get through it together. Together with wine, I gotta tell you, and a little self-care. Please do something for yourself. I know it's very difficult. I am not one to brag about my balance. I don't have very good balance, but if COVID and at home and all of this nonsense has taught me one thing, it is that everything will be okay. I need to fill my tank. I can't get my nails done. I can't get a massage. I can't do all the things I like to do, but I still have to make time to do something that I like for myself. Otherwise, when one thing goes wrong, everything goes downhill fast. So today I made a shirt for me. Right? Okay, everybody, let's do that. I want to see your shirts. I want to see what you're doing for you, whether that's a shirt, whether that's a sign, whether that's a little time just sitting in your closet by yourself, or your craft room with the door closed, or whatever that may be. Take care of yourself, because otherwise, how are you going to take care of everybody else, right? Okay. All right, you guys, I hope you have a fabulous day. I will see you soon.